Senate Leader Opembamdele. Let's get some perspectives. If truly amendment and the law can resolve some of these problems, why has it failed in the past? Is there a commitment in the 10th National Assembly for these to happen? I'm being joined by a very senior lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria, Jibrin Okutepa, who is live for us here in our Abuja studio. Let us say, it's a pleasure having you join us on the program tonight.
Thank you, Shehu,
I appreciate
for the privilege to be here.
Thank you so much indeed, sir. It's not a very good time for a lot of Nigerians, especially if you ask those whose children are still in captivity. Ask them in Oyo, in some part of Borno State, in some part of Kogi, those who are affected in Kaduna and the rest of the country. They will tell you that they are not happy because of the issue of kidnapping and abductions and terrorism and banditry that is going on in the country. But if the National Assembly say part of the solution could be state policing, do you agree?
Well, I have very difficult moments going along with them. And the reason is very simple. Before 1914, we have had different kinds of police force, Lagos Police, Niger Constabulary, what have you and what have you. It was only in 1914 that we have a centralized police. And then we operated it until we got to the 1960 independence. And under the Republican Constitution, we had native authority police, we have local government police, we have regional police. And we're all aware of what happened under this police, regional, local government, and the local government police. And without attempting to, make anybody a bad person, I think in the early time of our independence, where these police were abused, political opponent harassment, suppression of dissent, using these police to influence elections, and protection of the interests of the ruling party's members. Politicians at that time were more nationalistic than the kind of politicians we have today. So, it was as a result of this suppression of political interests and what have you, that the 1979 Constitution brought into being the federal police and the prohibition of state police, regional police, and what have you. And we have been operating it. You are a living witness to the kind of things that our police officers have been subjected to or allow themselves to be subjected to in the course of election. Mm-hmm. So, the question I ask is, what has changed from the time we had native police, regional police, local government police, the abolition of it, and now? Because I think the problem we have is not necessarily in the nomenclature of the security agencies, but as to whether or not as Nigerians we are prepared to build an institution that does not owe or that do not owe allegiance to those in power. Yeah, I think that is the problem we have.
Let me come in quickly. And you've laid the background succinctly. The framers of the 1999 Constitution were very also careful. They put into consideration the reason to place policing in the exclusive legislative list.
Yes.
And partly it's there are those who argue that it's due to preserve national unity. Yes. Because coming into the Fourth Republic, the nation was fragmented. The military had caused a lot of chaos. The issue of ethnicity and religion were major issues. And coming from the 1992-1993 political era was also a watershed in the political history of this country. So there are those who argue that preserving our unity was part of what the framers of the Constitution thought, to placing policing in the exclusive legislative list. But are we risking a return to that fragmented security structures that could deepen ethnic and political division, which some of the framers thought that we were running away from, if we go to state policing?
Now, Shehu, when we have state policing, local government policing, or even ethnic policing, what do we do to prevent the abuse of this institution?
That's one of the arguments. That some of the governors, even with the federal policing, they've hijacked
they are abusing
the security.
They have
hijacked the fear of hijack.
So, as of today, with profound respect, there is no institution of democracy as of today that is independent of those in power. They owe allegiance to those in power. So I think there is a need for a national discourse as to whether or not we are really, really committed to building an institution. So if you go through our elections and even the security situation we have today, why are policemen and our security agencies afraid of performing their jobs? If you recall, I think it was President Goodluck Jonathan that admitted that even in his own cabinet, there are people who are sympathizers with the people who are enemies of Nigerian people. Today, you watch and see some of the policemen or some of the armed forces selling arms and ammunition to these security people. So I think, in my view, that until we de-emphasize our quests for monetary unexplained wealth, because everybody now, there is no, I don't know what to put it. Many of our security agencies are afraid to put their lives on the line, because if they die in active service, it takes only God knows when before their families are compensated. I think that the leaders of this country need to sit down. What is wrong with us? That even the police we have now will see evil going on and they are waiting for orders. Or you go to a police station to make a report, you are subject of, your identity being given out. So I think there is...
There are other indices that need to be considered. And when you ask yourself the question, why does insecurity persist in our country? By ranking of recent global firepower rankings, it places Nigeria third on the continent of Africa after Egypt and Algeria.
Do you know why?
Yeah.
There is no political will.
Yeah. Let me the paradox of the whole situation is that 200 million people, the argument that we do not have sufficient boots on the ground. We need, by the United Nations statistics, we are insufficient of security operatives to police our population. But guess what? In the whole of Africa, we have the largest security structure, not in terms of the power, but see what has happened. We have fragmented our security operations. So we have armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Nigeria Police Force, Department of State Services, National Intelligence Agency, National Security and Civil Defense Corps, Federal Road Safety Corps, Nigeria Immigration Service, Nigeria Customs Service, Nigerian Correctional Service, and there are several paramilitary organizations and state-supported security institutions. In that sense, there are those who will tell you that we have the largest on the continent of Africa, if you talk about all of these agencies, whose duty are also security. And there are those who say, merge them. What is FRSC doing? What is NSC doing? Are they not doing police work? There are a lot of EFCC jobs that you find in the police. Police can prosecute nearly everything ICPC, EFCC will do. We just have all this fragmented should this be considered? Because President Bola Tinubu in his campaign promised that he was going to have more boots on the ground. That has not really happened effectively.
How many politicians have given Nigerian promises and fulfilled it? The problem, like you have highlighted, what is ICPC, EFCC, and police in doing? They are all doing police job. And Section 214 of the Nigerian Constitution prohibit establishment of any other police force other than the Nigerian police. If you have the misfortunes to travel on the road frequently, like some of us do, you will see how tattered, how haggard, how ill-equipped are our policemen on the road.
Look at their barracks.
Look at their barracks. What is the incentive for me to lay down my life?
They are even protesting. Those who retired recently are protesting that they've retired.
If you create state police, local government police, how will they be funded? How sufficiently funded are the Nigerian police, the security agencies you have mentioned? What is the incentive for them? If you may be surprised to hear today that if you report a crime to the Nigerian police, you are likely to be asked to make adequate provisions for some writing materials.
And they may not even have electricity.
They may not have electricity.
You have to use candle or torchlight or your phone light.
Let me give you a live example. Around 2011, in my house, I had security people around there, and robbery was taking place opposite the house. And I suggested that, look, why not go there? He said, they didn't send us there. Meanwhile, when you look at the Nigeria Police Act, the policeman is entitled to arrest any person suspected reasonably to have committed a crime. But today, they are afraid to do so. Sometimes, the power that be may be interested even in some of these people that are engaging in this very, very unprofessional and criminal conduct. So, that brings me to the point I made. We don't have institution that is built, that has the trust and the confidence of the people, because those who are responsible for building these institutions and building confidence in the people are abusing the same institution.
If you were President Bola Tinubu tonight, with insecurity that we are seeing in the country, and it's not now only in the northern region of the country, it's going southwards.
It's everywhere.
What will you do?
First, I will disband the Nigerian police.
Really?
Yes. And there are people in the police force that ought not to even be given uniform to wear. For instance, the other time you had a man who went viral to say, if you film me, I will waste you. A policeman, even though he later on began to beg. If you go on the road, Nigeria and maybe one few other African countries is the only place you go and see police officers and security agencies with very sophisticated guns on the road threatening citizens who are supposed to be protected. So my suggestion, if I have the power, the police as is today and all other security agencies, the personnel in them will be subjected to thorough psychological and psychiatric tests to know those who are humane and who are committed to policing the security situation in this country. Two, most of these criminal gangs and kidnapping are not doing so because the people, some of the people in power are not aware. Some of them invariably are enabled. And I think it was late General Sani Abacha that said that when insecurity persists beyond a certain number, then government is involved. The government itself must purge itself of the insincerity and fight these security, insecurity in our land with all sense of sincerity of purpose.
Yeah. Let us see, perhaps our parting shot that I like from you, sir, tonight is about a proposition that I don't see that happening in this National Assembly, maybe in the 11th National Assembly. They're proposing a 6-year single term or tenure for governors and presidents.
For what? Look, we are all witnesses. A governor or a president that want to give Nigeria good governance, you will see the evidence of it within a period of 1 year in being in power.
So you don't need 6 years.
There's nothing wrong.
So the argument is that 4 years is not sufficient.
See.
So instead of going 8 years, just do 6 years, one single time, go away, let another person.
Today, do we have a law in place prohibiting people who want to install their stooges in power? You are all living witnesses to people who unpick people and made them governor, even a democratic system that are quarreling. Are you not seeing it? So if you do 6 years, what measure do you put in place to prevent a governor or president from having interest in who succeeds him?
Invariably having another time.
Invariably having. There are some states today that the governors who left office are effectively in charge of the state because their puppets are in power. So the problem is just simply that, for instance, the institution that had power to check the rascalities of members of the executive is itself completely impotent. The state houses of assembly, the National Assembly, there are some gross impeachable offenses that you can see, even the blind can see it, the deaf can hear it, but they close their eyes to it. Then the other institution, there is a state capture. That's why whether it is 8 years, it is 10 years, until we change our orientation, our mentality, and we are having persons, executive, that is not in connivance with the system that is corrupt, to take advantage of corrupt system, to perpetuate itself in power. Nigeria, even if you make it a 10 years, one single term, the person will want to remain 20 years. Perpetually.
Right.
So, my final point, Nigerians themselves have developed a lukewarm attitude and have allowed the kind of bad system going on, which affects them by just mere collecting a bag of salt, a packet of Indomie, and just check.
After all, they say rice solves all problems.
Just check the just concluded direct primaries of political party. The people doing counting 1, 5, 10, 1,000, are they in power? So, in my view,
it's a special mathematics.
Until we do away with the propensities to be wealthy, we throw an unexplained wealth and flaunting it, and you are punished, Nigeria will continue in perpetuity to be changing system to system, even though this kind of system will operate are perfectly operating in America, in other civilized countries. I do not know why
it's difficult for us.
We agree to put on a black character when indeed we are very intelligent. Today, if you say, let us rise and checkmate political rascality, the police and the military will be more powerful than they are powerful going after the insurgents that have kidnapped the leaders of tomorrow and in the thick forest of cocoa, somewhere in Oyo, somewhere in Kogi, somewhere in Maiduguri, somewhere in Niger, somewhere in Kwara. The reason is very simple. To flaunt wealth, you are respected. Integrity, honesty appears to be far away from being a rewarding commodity in Nigeria. So if you are honest and you speak truth, you are likely to face some consequences so as to punish you to follow the evil path. And may God help us to change our character.
Amen. Thank you so much. Sake, always good to drink from your wealth of experience. Thank you so much indeed, and knowledge. I appreciate it.
I'm grateful.
Thank you so much indeed. Jibrin Okutepa, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, speaking with us on the series of issues on the state of the nation. Thanks so much indeed. We'll take a break, everyone, but when we return, it will be time for Atiku Abubakar reply, former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babache Lawa, who's made claims that Atiku Abubakar is inept, that Atiku Abubakar lacks capacity, that Atiku Abubakar is corrupt, and he called him Kachala. What will be the response? We're getting to hear tonight. We'll be right back.